So last year we got cheated. We didn't get a chance to talk to my next guest. This guy's got passion. He's knowledgeable. He's got a great voice. So let's go to the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline, and welcome in the radio voice of the Villanova Wildcats, Ryan Fannon. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, Ryan?
What's up? What's up, Billy? What's up, Brad? Great to be with you guys. And right here at the famous Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, it doesn't get much better. One of the great venues in all of college basketball.
Now, are you courtside right there, Ryan?
Yeah, we're broadcasting today right next to the Villanova bench. You know, sometimes we're across the court. A few times because of COVID issues in the last couple of years, we've been up broadcasting on the second level of different venues. But we are right there courtside today. And, to think that Villanova's season ended here last year to Baylor, the defending national champions, and Villanova was up 7 in that game without Colin Gillespie, playing in a bubble. And here we are a year later, and it's just a liberating feeling as things are improving, obviously, with COVID in a huge way. Seeing the crowd just come into Hinkle Fieldhouse right now. No bubble this year, NCAA tournament sites all over the country, and things are just starting to feel much more normal every day. And the Big East tournament next week at the Garden. It's just an incredible time of the year.
How big of a crowd? What's the stadium hold there at Butler?
So it's 9,100.
Okay.
When it opened back, incredible history in this building. When it opened in 1928, it was 15,000. And then in 1989, they actually reduced due to renovations and brought it from 15,000 down to 11,000. And now it's 9,100. And, I was just doing my research, looking back because I've got to call a lot of games here over the years. But the history of this, of Hinkle Fieldhouse, is just unbelievable. From Hoosiers being filmed here to the Milan high school team winning the state championship here in 1954 that led to the Hoosiers.
We're just talking about that, Hoosiers. Gene Hackman.
Presidential speeches over the years. Future Olympic gold medalist Jesse Owens broke a world record here back in 35. There's
history.
So much
that's
that's happened at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
All right, let's talk about the current Villanova Wildcats, because at 21-7, they're really playing well. They got off to a 2-2 start at the beginning of the season. I've had an opportunity, Ryan, to watch about 8 or 9 games this year. And one thing I noticed, and we've talked about this on a couple previous shows, that the balanced scoring attack this team has. Most games that I watch, all 5 guys are in double figures.
Absolutely, and don't forget, we got to squeeze one more win. You said 21. Don't forget that 22nd win we had Tuesday against Providence.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
Friars.
Yeah.
So
22-7
22-7. What seed do you think you'll be?
Before I tell you a little bit about the balance of the team that you asked, it's a really crazy scenario. Providence doesn't play this weekend. They ended up in conference play at a winning percentage of 82%. They only played 17 league games. So if Villanova wins today, Providence had already clinched the Big East title last weekend, guys, but they're going to end up 14-3 playing 17 conference games. Villanova with a win today would end up 16-4 at 80% winning percentage. Villanova would have swept Providence. And how about the 3 games that Providence missed playing? At Seton Hall, at Creighton, Connecticut at home.
Wow.
3 teams on their way most likely to the NCAA tournament. So that's been a little tough to swallow. But I think right now, you look at Villanova from a seeding perspective. I think right now you see most of the projections around the country that are Villanova is the strongest number 3 seed projection as of today, or barely on the 2 line. And with the game today against Butler and then an incredible Big East tournament coming up next week, I don't see really any scenario Villanova would drop to the 4 line in the NCAA tournament unless they lost today and didn't win the Big East tournament. So that would give them 2 more losses. I think if they can win today, I think it's going to really end up that, depending on how they do in New York, they'll end up on the 3 line or the 2 line in the NCAA tournament. But a very important game to take care of business today, because Butler's had a tough year. They're 13-17 overall. They're 6-13 in Big East play. And this is a game Villanova's got to take care of business and not slip today.
We're talking with the radio voice of the Villanova Wildcats, Ryan Fannon. Last time the Cats played Butler, they blew them away, 72-36, I believe it was.
And everybody brings their A game against Villanova too. You know,
but Ryan, is this a game you got to watch out for? I mean, obviously Coach Wright will have these guys prepared, but when the last time they met, they blew them out by such a big number. Do you think that they could be overlooking this team?
You know, the great thing about Jay Wright that I've seen for the 21 years he's been here is he always talks about only one thing, the game in front of him. And our kids are so focused. Villanova basketball players, I've talked to them. You hear them in interviews. They don't even look. They're like, I don't know who we play next week. I know we're playing Butler next. So I think it's part of that culture that Jay has built here, that we respect our opponents and we only think about the game in front of us. And I think it's really been a huge, obviously a recipe for incredible success under Jay Wright with 3 Final Fours and 2 national championships. He never lets his team start to do that. I remember over the years, coaches would say, hey, you know, we're on the bubble right now, but if we win 3 of our next 5, we're going to probably get in. And Jay never, ever has gotten into that narrative. He will never go down that road. He'll only talk about the game in front of him. Now, Butler has 7 players today that are on this roster. 15 will dress today for Butler, playing their last game ever at Hinkle. Wow. And this league this year, I think, is the best the Big East has been since the reconfigured Big East came into fruition in the 13-14 season. So this is the 9th year of, let's call it, you know, the reconfigured Big East. So when you go on the road, you got to be ready to play. And the fact that Villanova beat Butler by 40 back in mid-January, I know Jay and the players, they're not thinking anything about that game. They're thinking about what do we need today to take care of business and play 40 minutes of Villanova basketball, get the W, and finish this regular season 23-7 and 16-4 in the league.
A couple of weeks ago, Colin Gillespie turned his ankle, and it looked pretty severe. I know it was everybody had a collective held their breath collectively, you included, Ryan. But I was shocked that he came back. How serious was he hurt?
You know, he was really in a lot of pain.
It looked bad.
I've been around a lot of these guys throughout the years, and his pain tolerance is as good as I've seen. Because for him to be able to not miss any games, and, you know, looked like he tweaked it a little bit in the Connecticut game, but I think Villanova caught a big break schedule-wise. They had 7 days between games. The loss at Connecticut on February the 22nd, and then the next game against Providence at home on March 1st. And I think it really allowed him and Justin Moore to heal, and Gillespie looked as healthy as I've seen since the original injury, really in that last game against Providence on Tuesday. So I think Villanova's really starting to come around in terms of health. I did want to answer your question earlier about the great balance of this team. Yeah. You just look at this team and, you know, Gillespie's our leading scorer at 16.5 points a game, and Moore has 15.5. But you look at Samuel's averages 10, and Daniels averages 10, and Dixon averages 10, and Slater averages 9. We have 6 guys that can literally on any given night easily score 20 points. And a perfect example of that is Caleb Daniels, who averages 10 and scored 20 against Providence on Tuesday night 4 days ago.
Hey, Rye, that being said, what makes Jay such a good recruiter? I mean, because Villanova is a unique place, and
it's not a big school.
It's not a big school. It's academically, it's tough. And I know Jay personally, and he's such a good man, but what makes him so good in the recruiting field, and then plus also when these student athletes come to Villanova,
buying into
the program and gets the most out of them. What can you answer that one?
I think a couple things. First of all, because knowing Jay, like a lot of us have had an opportunity to get to know him, he's an amazing person. Yeah, like he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He always has time for everybody. He is a guy that everybody wants to be around. And because he's so genuine, that when he recruits, he interacts with future Villanova players and parents, and he's just a guy that literally is able to be the person that you would want your son to go play for. So he's got it all going right there.
Yep.
And then as the program's grown and we've continued to put so many players in the NBA, that helps in recruiting. And then he has a little different narrative. A lot of coaches go in and promise that you're going to be the starting point guard and you're going to be the guy that turns this around. Jay Wright comes in and says, if you want to be part of something bigger than yourself, come to Villanova. And he sets the tone, and it's a different kind of thing. I think a lot of, this is my guess, like he walks out of visits with parents and they go, well, I haven't heard that before. I've heard that you're going to get this.
You're not getting that five-star kid that wants to be the me guy and going to one and done.
Correct.
See,
there's no me in this program. It's all
that's
about
great.
the name
That's awesome.
on the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey.
We're talking with the radio voice of the Villanova Wildcats, Ryan Fannon. Expectations weren't all that high at the beginning of the season for this team. I didn't really my expectations.
They were under the radar.
So under the radar. So is this one of Jay Wright's best coaching jobs, Ryan?
You guys, I know because Villanova lost back-to-back by 20 and 21 points to Baylor and Creighton in December, that really fell Villanova off the radar a little bit and dropped us down even below 20 in the rankings. But remember, when this season started, because Gillespie and Samuels decided to come back and Moore was returning and we had some good freshmen coming in and some other sophomores and juniors, this was a team that was picked to be one of the teams in the whole country. But I think because of that December hiccup,
because they started they started off 2-2.
How good Villanova could be, and now they're seeing how good they really are. So it's been a little bit of an up and down from that respect. But I feel like health-wise, balanced scoring, our defense. Our defensive numbers have slipped a little bit in the last month. We were playing unbelievable defensively in the month of January, and I think right now we got to get back and get our defense a little bit back to the level it was. We've given up a lot of points in some recent games, but we're playing a lot of really good teams like Providence twice and Connecticut. So I think this team has a lot of the things. It's not as talented as the 16 and 18 national championship teams, but I can tell you one thing. It has incredible leadership. Colin Gillespie is as good a leader as we've had, and I'm talking about some legends in Brunson and Arcidiacono when I talk about great leaders in recent years.
And that's a perfect segue, because the couple games that I watched, the few games that I watched, Gillespie seems like when he gets in there, he's like a calming presence.
He does.
You know what I mean? Like a true, like you just said, alluded to, as a true leader. But the ball movement with this team, I thought, was exceptional.
Yeah, right now you just look at Villanova from a standpoint. In the season, we averaged 12 assists a game. Some years we've averaged a little bit higher than that. But our ball movement, especially with Gillespie getting more and more healthy, we work the ball. You see, we're not a team that plays a lot of up-tempo. We don't run a lot. We take shots late in the shot clock. But we're patient and we're steady. Even when the shot clock's down to 7, 6, 5, we're still making that extra pass, moving it around the perimeter, trusting to use the full shot clock. And a lot of that is because of veteran savvy play, that we just have poise. And here's the X factor of this team. We are the best free throw shooting team in the country. And when it comes to March, we know, just ask Calipari back in 2008 when he lost in San Antonio to Kansas, where they could not make their free throws. Not only is Villanova a really good free throw shooting team, it's tracking to be the best in the history of Division I.
Wow.
The Harvard team back in the mid 80s. And so that's something to watch when we get to tournament time, Big East tournament time. We know every game, when you get down the road, a lot of those, they're just close, and are you going to make the free throws?
Coaching.
Yep. All right, Ryan, you're getting ready for the call. We're going to let you run. I know you're courtside, getting ready for the call, the Villanova-Butler game. Thanks a lot, Ryan. We really appreciate it, and we're going to have you on real soon again for the tournament.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Brad. Great being with you guys. Have a great weekend. Go Cats.
Let's go Cats. All right, there he is. He gets me pumped up for Villanova basketball,
what a great
man.
Voice.